You're listening to The Arrow of Time right here on the Musings of a Geek podcast network. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Arrow of Time. My name is Matt.
I'm Joseph.
I am Gabe.
I'm Susan.
And today this is episode 121. 1.21.
Oh, it's a Back to the Future episode. We did it, guys.
Yay. Go
back to the old theme song.
Yes. 1.21 podcasts.
Doc. That's all I got.
Yeah. You made a podcast out of one single TV show?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a lot smoother than what happened in my brain. Or mouth. I don't know which one slowed it up, but something in the chain is irresponsible.
We'll blame it on the beer.
Yes. The beer. Okay, so we are talking about the insane crazy last episode that got... there's many different sorted reviews about it. Gabe, what's going on over there?
Would you say that it was mental?
It could be quite mental.
Was it iconic?
It's very iconic. I thought that you could point to that one as being a Doctor Who episode amongst many.
Wait, that's the exact opposite of iconic.
Yeah, it's Heaven Sent. Written by our fearless leader, Stephen Moffat.
Yes. The Moff. At
Moffat.
At Moffat.Twitter. He removed his Twitter. He was on Twitter for a while, doing the Twitters, and then I guess he removed it.
I wonder why.
I don't know. I guess he's getting a lot of hate. The internet was not liking the Moffat Twitter.
Social media people not liking a thing?
I know, right? It's weird.
Unheard of.
Yeah, he didn't have to quit, though. He could have just shored up the walls and
I don't know. Maybe he's still in there. I heard that he dropped his Twitter or something like that. So maybe he literally just dropped his phone. I'll never tweet again.
Every time he gets a new phone, he redoes every single account.
Yes.
He needs to go away for a decade. That's what Rick Berman did.
Yeah.
He was just missing for a decade and recently popped up on Twitter.
Wait, but there was no Twitter a decade ago.
No, but he just disappeared. He disappeared from the public eye.
What's all Ricky Berman up to?
He's tweeting.
Oh, probably doesn't pay for it.
That's
well.
it.
His first tweet was something like, "While I'm prepared for this, knowing he's going to get a spew of hate."
Hello, it's me.
We've mostly moved on, Rick. Sorry.
He has his mom and his best friend following him.
Oh, poor Rick Berman.
Anyway, what about our Rick Berman?
Yes.
Stephen Moffat.
He made an episode.
He did make an episode.
Did we mention the name? I've already forgotten the name.
Heaven Sent.
Heaven Sent. Now, we have positioned ourselves. I'm in a different seat than normally when I podcast.
Does this present a problem for you, Matt?
No, I did this on purpose. Because of our alignments of the episode. I positioned myself closer to Gabe because I feel that I am closer. Gabe and I have the same idea, more or less, of the episode. And I let Joseph and you sit closer together because you two seem
chaotic evil.
Yes.
It's true.
Well, no, the way we were arrayed, actually, this is like a scale of like to dislike. Joseph's clear at one end, and then Susan's next to him, kind of in the middle. Matt's next in the middle, and then I'm at the far other end in the light column.
In the light. Lawful good.
I actually, I was thinking about it, and I was liking it more and more, so...
Should we switch seats, Matt?
Well, I don't know. Maybe maybe you still like it more, or
All right, hold on. We have to figure this out. So Susan, move over. Did you start to like it more as well?
Slightly.
Okay,
but I'm
over
still
here.
on the more negative side.
I should then move more like away that way, so then no one else has to move. So I'll just sit over there in the corner.
Maybe if you face backwards.
Oh, there we go.
I vaguely recall the second time you watched it, you struggling to find reasons to not like it.
Yeah, but that's still not the same thing as liking it.
it's like I still don't like it. I just don't know why now. But I, ugh.
It was long.
It was long. That's like number one
It was 8 minutes longer than normal.
on the list. Yeah, it was 8 minutes longer than a normal episode, which is already kind of too long to begin with.
Well, also when I present an 8-minute long YouTube, you're like, nah, not watching it.
Yeah, so that's my threshold.
You're like a doctor. It's too much time. You get bored.
Yes.
I didn't have my knitting.
Well,
Not enough running.
What?
Not enough running.
Yeah, exactly. It was more crawling, but that's later.
well, Joseph, though, I think that's a thing too with you, like personally, because you would rather not watch a long movie.
Right.
You would rather watch a short television show.
Yes.
Even if there's like many of them over the course of time, but
Yes.
you
Because
like,
there's a natural break point where I can
Yeah.
do something else.
yeah,
I don't binge watch shows either.
Yeah.
So the prospect that next week's is longer still is ever more daunting.
yes.
Well, so this week's was 53 minutes. Next week's is 65 minutes.
Which is a lot more than 8 minutes.
My theory is 20 minutes longer than normal. My theory is that Moffat will combine them and release them in theaters as a feature.
In 3D?
Oh,
knows?
definitely. I think that's exactly what's going to happen because that's what they did with Death in Heaven and Dark Water. And
That was a great success, I take it.
well, I guess so. I mean, they did it right before the. I don't know. I mean, obviously, the biggest success was the 50th.
Right.
And
that
then-
was intentionally.
Yeah, that was intentionally feature length.
And it doesn't feel that long.
It doesn't. It's actually shorter than the movie. I think the Doctor Who movie.
Well, that's pretty short, too.
I think it is.
I think you're right.
Yeah. I was looking at the time. I'm like, ooh, wow, the Doctor Who movie is still actually longer.
I think it's
11
like
minutes.
I think it's like 10 minutes longer.
Yeah. But then they did it again for.
Oops.
Oops. They did it again for Deep Breath, and I don't think it got. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm just guessing, just from like all the buzz going around. I know that Mrs. Claudine Harper and her children went to go see it was, on a birthday.
Well, it's a smashing success,
That
though.
was a smashing success. But other than that, obviously they weren't the only ones. I don't know what the reception was like in Britain.
Well, there was also they did the David Tennant one too with the.
They did. Fathom's been doing a lot of those, but yeah, they did the David Tennant Cybermen 2-parter, which I think is personally one of the least favorite episodes of the David Tennant era.
But that
The
must have been
second
a big
season.
blurry mess.
Let us not mince words. it stunk.
Yeah, but again, and check this out. This was the same season that Love and Monsters was on. So that
Looks
means
good by
something.
comparison.
Yes. I mean, but if we're saying like, oh, this is a bad two-parter, I mean, it was, or it was a bad story. It was just like, well, also Love and Monsters was there, so guess what? There's a huge stinky pile. We could easily go, oh, was it? At least it wasn't as bad. No, we're just saying it was just. I'm sorry, I just found it boring.
Yes.
There was not a whole lot. So anyway, I guess that's a bit off topic, but
That actually does relate back to this episode, though, and Joseph's feelings towards it.
I found it boring.
And
And what? What do you want from me?
you're talking about
boring and iconic.
what you didn't like. I think you started to synthesize down to it being not like Doctor Who.
Oh, right.
Oh, you said something really funny. It was
Oh,
this
I wish I could
something
remember what that
Stephen
was.
Moffat hour or something. It was
Well, the pretentious Stephen Moffat art hour? Or something like that?
yes.
Right. Well, when you sit down to watch an episode of Doctor Who, I expect, maybe I shouldn't going forward, but a certain level of fun. And there was no fun to be had in this episode. I mean...
It was very dreary.
Yeah, it was lower than even, like... Because there was some, Russell T. Davies ones where it's like, it's time to be sad now.
Yeah.
But that was only part of the episode. And the rest of the episode was fun. Sometimes suddenly too fun. That was him. But yeah, Moffat seems to be on this trend now where more and more episodes just become bleaker and bleaker. And I think he hit maximum bleak in this one.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't get any worse.
Well, maybe this is just the sad doctor.
Could be.
Yeah.
No, David Tennant's the sad doctor.
But he's sad in a boisterous way. He's telling everyone how sad he is.
What about a brooding way? Is he the brooding doctor?
He could be more broody.
Because he has that... David Tennant, when he was sad, he was more kind of like, I'm sad, and I want to I want to protect everybody from my sadness.
And Matt Smith's doctor did that too, where when he was brooding, he set up elaborate puzzles to find him. So he obviously wasn't that sad.
But yes, but then this doctor Capaldi is just like, bad things are happening. Like I'm aggressively sad. Like he seems aggressively, my best friend died, and I'm gonna find you.
Well,
I'm not weak.
He's so much older than the others,
He is.
It's like he's been around. He's seen some stuff, and
Yeah, definitely seen some stuff.
My biggest problems with the episode, besides it being long, is that it's not a good Doctor Who episode. It's a good TV episode of a show, but it's not the show I want to watch.
I've heard you say that several times for different things. I know you definitely have said that before with Star Trek movies.
Oh, Star Trek.
Yeah.
First Contact is a great movie. It's just not a good Star Trek movie.
Yeah. I will agree with that one, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's top-notch action sci-fi.
Yeah.
But, you don't run around shooting everything generally in Star Trek.
Especially, if you're Ice Rider Picard.
Yeah, exactly. So given that there's only one character this episode, there's really, two-ish. One dialogued character, really. There's not a lot of character to mess up, so it's not like a First Contact situation where it's like, no, those characters would never do that. This is everything actually that Capaldi would do, and that's not the problem. It's just that there's nothing happening around him to...
Well, that was one of his lines, was, I'm nothing without an audience. I mean, just the Doctor... That's the reason we have a companion, is the Doctor needs a companion to work off of. So when it's just the Doctor, I mean, Capaldi was absolutely brilliant, and I really am growing to love his Doctor. But we don't watch the show to see the Doctor in a box. And this was the Doctor in a box-like castle.
Yes.
Now, I thought that this was a great study, and maybe this is a good, I guess, summation of what you're saying. But, Joseph, for all the podcast people out there who can't see that I'm pointing at Joseph right now. But the fact that, because I really, really loved the character study of this, and just him going through everything and the Doctor in the situation. But again, you're saying, not maybe a great, episode for Doctor Who. And this is something that I had been thinking for a while, where, the reason I actually got into the show, which was, David Tennant. And I mean, if you look at the David Tennant and Stephen Moffat eras, totally different. Or sorry, RTD, Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, same idea.
Same idea.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah. Anyway, he doesn't want to. He regrets Doctor Who. He's like, oh, what did I do? I woke up from a bender and I was on a TV show. Oops. But I think that just the styles are definitely kind of different, and I'm almost. And they were so exciting. I remember what? Oh, I'm gonna watch another Doctor Who episode. What kind of crazy wackadoo monsters are going to be in it this time? Oh, a gray hooded figure that melts your face when it touches you.
Well, no, we're complaining about you heard me complain about the Doctor in a box, and you just said that about the lack of a good villain. In spite of all that, you and I both liked the episode.
Oh yeah, and I only say that just because. I think, and not necessarily. I mean, I think that the Veil's a great villain, but maybe the original idea of Doctor Who that I've been kind of wrestling with myself, of just after the episode, I played you guys the different themes you weren't here for this, Susan, but I was just saying, like, hey, like, listen to these different themes along, like, of these doctors. And I think we all kind of agreed that 11's was our favorite because it had that, like, like, it had that thing of, like, everything seemed really, really bleak in an episode. Then you start to, like, hear that theme song kind of kick in. And it was like, oh, yeah. And it was, like, so bombastic and everything. It was like, yay! Got you, like, pumped.
And that's a really great theme song just in general. And we're not talking about title sequence.
Yeah, yeah, no,
the actual,
like the Doctor's theme. Yeah.
Music in the episode.
Yeah.
The 11th Doctor's theme has the running music. It has the I Got a Good Idea music. It has, like, kind of the goofy bit.
Yeah.
And it also has, like, you know, the danger bit in there, too. It's like all the possible themes are covered in that one song.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's really good.
Where, like, the 12th Doctor is kind of a little bit more like Hans Zimmer-y, sounds a little bit like the Avengers theme or something. Like, it's just kind of like, you know, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I mean, it's just very, like, kind of like underscorey, like it's there, but it's not as noticeable. So I would say, like, now it's kind of like the Hans Zimmer era as opposed to, like, the Danny Elfman era, if you want to go that route, which I think paints a perfect picture. That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Everybody else is silent. Oh, whatever. I don't care.
Susan, what did you think of?
Yeah,
the
what did you
episode?
think of this, Susan?
Big broad strokes.
It wasn't bad, but I just felt like it had some pacing issues for me. You know, basically the episode was a puzzle, right? So they just kind of took their sweet time about getting the Doctor through the puzzle. They could have kind of tightened things up a little bit, and it would have been a much, I don't know, probably more effective episode for me.
Maybe taking 8 less minutes.
Yeah, maybe. But it wasn't, you know, I think that montage at the end, which was lovely, with him, you know, repeating the same sequence over and over again. I kind of got the idea after 3 that I didn't need to go through 5 or 6 the way that they did for me.
Yeah, okay, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was very cute, but they drove the message home sooner. They could have cut it off.
We got it.
Yeah.
But Moffat really wanted to hit you with that, you know, 1 billion years, 2 billion years.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to get all those.
Just when you
hits in
think
there.
he can't spend more time
Yeah.
in there. Yeah. Yeah.
Just how long this Doctor spent will surprise you. I don't know.
But apart from that, it was, you know, enjoyable. The Doctor's performance, like you guys were saying, was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was definitely Capaldi's like tour de force. You know, he carried that, and he acted the crap out of, you know, the part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the writing of the dialogue, I actually thought was clever and enjoyable. So
Oh, and it started off with that poem that he was spouting off at the beginning, which we were actually scrambling to find, like, is this an actual poem? But it was not an actual poem. It was something created, churned out of the mind of Stephen Moffat.
There he goes, making new things.
You poet, you.
Well, let's not be too hasty.
Maybe
We
it's
couldn't find it on the internet, but that doesn't mean that Stephen Moffat came up with it either.
He has the sole credit for the episode.
He could steal things.
I thought, like, for the Capaldi's performance and the Doctor, it was really heartbreaking the way he kept talking to Clara the whole time. And there's even especially the one scene when he used his telepathy to open the door, when he looked over to say to Clara, I still got it, and then realized she wasn't there. And you could see it in his face. He finished the sentence, but midway through, his face was like, oh, yeah. And that was really good.
That's all Capaldi.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he is really stellar. Just like at acting the Dickens out of this. I would say.
Well, we have at least one more year of him.
And one more of Moffat.
Oh, remember when we were so excited about Moffat taking the reins?
We were young and foolish.
Well, maybe the next one will be better.
It'll be interesting to see, like all 2-parters, or 3-parters in this case, it's really difficult to judge without seeing the end. But, I mean, this one can stand alone.
And I feel like it really did stand alone. I know technically it was a two-parter or whatever, but it didn't really feel like that at all to me. You could have missed the setup for it and not been any worse off, I think.
Yeah.
It occurs to me right now that what this season actually is just a 6-episode serial that had a bunch of two-parters crammed in for no reason.
Oh.
It's basically just take every episode with me in it, which would be, we've had 3 so far, right?
Yeah.
No, 2 so far. Wait, 1, 2.
We've had
3. We've had 3 so far.
3 stories.
And then you have the final 2 episodes. Okay, so 5-part serial, not a 6-part serial. I guess you need a little bit of that Davro stuff at the beginning, maybe.
Well, and
You have to set up the confession dial. You have to set up the idea that a hybrid is a thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
are you allowing for Face the Raven though, and Clara dying, and the Doctor getting
Yes,
kidnapped?
that's one of the neat episodes.
Oh, right.
So.
Duh.
But yeah, we didn't need Lake Place. We didn't need Sandman's.
At Lake Place.
There was a lake at some point,
There was.
Yes, and we were under it.
or before it.
But yeah, the Doctor had some great lines. There was one I got it down. I finally ran out of corridor. There's a life summed up. It was clever writing. It was good. When
Yeah.
Moffat sets his mind to it, he can write good things.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this was another thing that, like, kind of made me realize, okay, you got it, Moffat. And, I mean, saying that it is a little bit long, I did feel it. I did, at the end where it did kind of keep on going with more and more and more and more. I would probably have cut out, some of the stuff in the middle of that recap of everything that was been going on, and maybe if he just kept on being at the part where he got his face zapped or whatever, and he kept on finishing a sentence, that would have been better.
Well, there were also, through the bulk of the episode, there were lots of long scenes of Capaldi looking in rooms very sadly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, it added to the tone. It was a very melancholy tone to the episode. But it's like, okay, new room, long shot, Capaldi looks downtrodden. It's like, we get that too.
Yeah, maybe if it was a little bit more adventure, and it did have that adventure moments. It had the moments of the adventure, and dashing out of the window, and I did think it was weird that he said that oh, I'm afraid, this is new or something like that. And I'm pretty sure that you have been afraid before.
Well, right. This is Stephen Moffat, so he forgets. He conveniently forgets things he's done 100,000 times.
Especially when, and I don't know, maybe he's just saying, "Oh, this is new in this body," but I definitely know that Matt Smith said, "I am the Doctor and I am afraid." That was in Hyde.
Right. And did Stephen Moffat write that one? I don't know.
No, it was not a Moffat.
Well, then it doesn't count.
It's not. I didn't write it. It's not canon. Only the Stephen Moffat episodes are canon.
That'd be crazy. That's actually what he thinks in his head. There's only 14 episodes of Doctor Who. Not the right accent. I'm sorry. Don't do it.
No,
Don't worry.
I'm not doing it.
We have a Moffat quote later on.
Oh no. No. I'm out.
So, Susan, have you seen Sherlock?
Yeah, actually.
Did you? And I know, Matt, you've seen some Sherlock.
Oh yeah, I've seen all of it.
Okay, good.
What are you talking about? Some Sherlock.
There's 8 episodes. It's easy.
The trick with the Doctor slowing down his thoughts and going into the TARDIS is very much a Sherlock thing, and it's like Sherlock's mind palace.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. I was basically thinking Moffat. There's 2 different Moffats that lives inside Stephen Moffat. One of them writes for Doctor Who, and then the other Moffat writes for Sherlock. And occasionally, the Doctor Who Moffat will steal from the Sherlock Moffat, and vice versa. Because there was a couple of things that Doctor Who introduced that then Sherlock later used.
Like time travel.
Like the big thing which happened in the 11th hour was the the really quick looking at different the very kind of choppy almost deducing things really fast. Like it would go into his eye, and then it would like camera out to this person there, and then this person over here, which is something that they ended up kind of doing in Sherlock. They did a little bit more like obvious with than words in front of it, but I mean it's that same kind of like camera lens zooming up in your eye. This is what the brain is doing, and then but that was a thing that happened in the 11th Hour, and it happened in, I know for sure, in A Christmas Carol, where he was figuring out what's wrong. Oh, the chairs, they're all facing away from the pictures, and that was definitely a Sherlock. Then that happened in Sherlock. So, and now this is definitely a thing that was Sherlock in Doctor Who, the Mind Palace.
So I'll tell you what'll make the Sherlock Christmas special is if the Pastronaut gang is in that, or whatever they're called.
The Pastronaut?
The Vostronotra? No.
Vastronotra.
Paternoster.
Pat
Noster gang. Come on, upper breadsticks.
The Foster, Jenny, and Strax.
Yeah, those guys. Oh, if they're there, that'll be the best episode. Oh, I miss them.
Yes.
No, I mean the Sherlock Christmas special.
Sherlock.
Because Sherlock's going to Victorian England.
Oh,
I think they might be hard pressed to have, a lizard woman in Sherlock.
She's got her little veil outfit.
He may never know. That's right.
There you
Keep
go.
the veil down.
Yeah.
well, technically, if we want to go completely like full on canon or universe or whatever, in that universe, it was Madame Vostra that Conan Arthur Doyle was basing his stories on.
See, there's precedent.
No, I think it doesn't work.
So yeah, so Sherlock is a fictional character
In
Doyle's books that were inspired by Madame Vostra.
Gotcha.
Who was also a fictional character.
It's layers within layers.
Let's go deeper.
It's like, it's questions I always had like on shows, like any show really. Arrested Development is one that comes to mind though. It's like, so if Liza Minnelli is the neighbor, does Liza Minnelli exist in that universe?
Well,
Ron Howard, because he's actually a character in the show, so he does exist. But now I'm confused because like he's one celebrity who's real, and another celebrity who's not.
But yeah, Liza Minnelli's not Liza Minnelli.
No, but
So maybe there's just a Liza Minnelli that looks a lot like.
What about Carl Weathers plays himself? See, that's another example. It's like other characters who are themselves.
yes.
It's like, but some people aren't. Like,
Or, like
Tony Dan. No, not Tony Danza. The Fonz.
Henry Winkler?
Yeah, he's there, but he's not Henry
Hey.
Winkler.
He's the
He's
lawyer
a bad
guy.
lawyer. Yeah. I'm so confused. Anyway,
well, it could just be people that look like them. Speaking of people that look like other people, let's take a break.
Come on over, please sit down. Just playing doctor ain't no messing around. Someone's wrong, yeah. What you need is supersonic and it's just out of reach. Just one question before time gets away. Have you had your dose of the doctor today?
And we are back.
Yay, cheers.
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 Yeah, clinks all around. Tasty, tasty, tasty. By the way, I didn't tell the audience what I'm drinking. I thought it was apropos. It's called Damned by Angry Beaver.
what flavor is it?
It's the flavor of an IPA.
Okay.
Possibly a double IPA. I don't know.
It's beer flavor.
It'll work again next week, too.
Yeah.
We're drinking a not related beer to anything.
Choco Vesa.
It's just Mexican chocolate.
It's just delicious.
It's kind of earthy. The doctor was digging in earth for a while.
Oh yes, and it's a little bit spicy and
Capaldi's very spicy.
yes,
Yes.
and
Is he? Is he really?
and he's also stout. I don't know.
Stout of heart.
So, speaking of the difference in all the styles, I guess, of the show, I almost, and maybe this isn't a correct analogy because you guys would know the most, but because of the fact that this seems like it's a little, just the tone seems a little bit more adult. It's not as fun and whimsical as I remember like the RTD era to be. even really the Matt Smith era. Like, it's definitely like more mature, more grown up. It seems like there's more, I guess, kind of more political things thrown in there. It almost kind of seems like the Deep Space Nine of Doctor Who right now.
In the Deep Space Nine era, huh?
Well, on that note, apparently we used arse as a curse for the first time. Like, get off your arse.
Oh, we did, yes.
Yeah.
Which means it qualifies for the podcast now.
Yes.
That was my only rule.
Yes.
And so there's lots of rumblings about the later time slot hurting ratings, but
It's not that much later.
it's half an hour. You're taking advantage of it, though.
They definitely are.
How long till full frontal nudity?
It's a good point, actually. Are they deliberately trying to move away from being a family show? Because, I mean, that's how it's qualified in the UK,
I mean,
right?
yeah, it's a family show.
I think if you were to ask Stephen Moffat, he would say that his target audience would be teens. So
Yeah.
teens don't want something that's, the Sarah Jane adventures. They want something a little bit darker, but they also don't want to see a
Pretentious art hour.
60-year-old man running around an empty castle for an hour either.
Right. I don't want to see that.
Well,
45 minutes, maybe.
Tops.
I mean, it's been reported that Stephen Moffat said that he's in the business of scaring children.
Well, this episode only scared them to boredom. Wait, what am I
To sleep.
Yeah, they're asleep now from scaring. They're so scared of it being boring.
No, but sleep no more.
Sleep no more. Now they can't even sleep now.
See, I disagree with the boredom factor, because I was very compelled the entire episode. I'm like, oh, what's going to happen now? And things were just kind of like folded out, maybe a little bit slowly. Maybe like what might happen in Lost, an episode of Lost, where it was just like they're walking up a hill, and they're talking about bands, or they're talking about like, oh, I don't know what about breakfast, and then all of a sudden like, what is this radio doing here?
Did we watch a different Lost?
I don't know. I just remember. I don't know.
The difference in that case is that there's like 1,000 people interacting.
That is true.
So you don't ever linger too long on one conversation about bands or breakfast.
There were 1,000 people on one plane.
No. But at some point it feels like it, man.
Yeah.
There's so many characters in that show.
Back to this show.
There's the tailies, and then the
middlies.
the wingies, and
There's something on the wing.
the cargoies. Yeah.
You're not supposed to be here.
Yes.
One thing that did actually kind of bug me about this episode that we haven't talked about is the fact that there were a bunch of what seemed to be not continuity errors, but just like anachronisms, I guess. Like the fact that the Mountain of Skulls by the end of the montage at the end hadn't, overrun the height of the castle.
Now, I thought the same exact thing, but I did some math the other night. Some maths.
Some maths.
For our British listeners.
This is what we do for fun.
And I determined that over the course of 2 billion years, given an average skull volume, that the number of skulls would only take up roughly 1/2 of a cubic kilometer, which would be less than the volume of the sea around the castle.
Wow.
I'm kind of impressed by your math.
So, yeah, basically, they would just all keep rolling out. So what you would have is you would have an ever, on the edges, increasing number. But in the middle, they would keep, rolling away. So it's fine.
Well, that assumes a slope, though.
Well, they, by necessity, would make a slope because they all get dropped in the same spot.
Oh, that's an excellent point. Okay.
It's like a drip of water that keeps...
Yeah, I was thinking like a random dispersion, but that did... Yeah.
Well, at least we get the impression that everything plays out identically every single time.
I would assume.
Except for how far he gets. But yeah, other than that, everything is identical.
Yeah. The other thing, which maybe I'm just missing something here too, is when he writes bird in the sand at the end,
Yeah.
why doesn't that get reset with the rest of the room like everything else?
It does eventually. Because when he goes back to it to die, it's reset then.
But there's a throwaway line that things don't reset for a while after he left. And so he hasn't left, I guess.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, since he's immediately regenerated. Okay, I got it.
So I noticed a few of these too. 'Cause another big question is, why didn't the diamond wall regenerate.
Yeah.
So it seems to me, and I read probably about 4 or 5 reviews, the castle didn't want to kill him. If they wanted to kill him, they could have done so pretty easily. So the castle was sort of working with him, but making it really difficult. So if you go with that theory, then everything unfolded the way it had to give him the long way around.
And maybe there are things that are malfunctioning in it. Remember when we did that puzzle room? And we had
that's actually a good point. We did our own little puzzle room, very, very close to watching this episode.
Yes.
I think another thing that may have distracted from the episode a bit for me is because of this, having done the puzzle room, the puzzles he's actually tasked to solve are either so gigantically time-spanning and improbable for anyone of normal capacity, or so nothing, like in room 12. Oh, I have to find room 12 now. There's very differing skill levels to solve these.
But even still, going with the theory the castle ultimately wants to help him, is he didn't find that room until he could solve that room.
Right.
So he said, that was one of the plot points, and I noticed it the second time around, that he'd scoured the castle for that room. And it wasn't until,
It's
here
time.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing you mentioned, Susan, about the, not what did you say? They're not quite continuity errors, but
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. Plot holes, maybe?
I had a series.
Harsh.
One of the things I thought about is what I'm calling the clothes dilemma, because the question is, did that room provide the clothes, or did the first Doctor run around Starkers?
He may have run around Starkers. I don't see any problem with that necessarily.
Well, so was he not wearing those clothes in the beginning?
Well, no, but so there.
After he jumps in the lake and he finds the set of clothes next to the fire drying already, so he switches his clothes, the wet clothes, for the dry clothes.
So the dry clothes were either left by the very first Doctor to go through there, or the broom gave him the clothes, which again implies that it's helping him.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, there's no reason for him to put them all nice and neat again, because they'll just get reset anyway.
It's a chicken or the egg kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, there has to be an initial state, because there's a couple of things, like the clue to the, I'm in 12, the fact that somebody already buried the tile from the middle of the other room to give him the clue. Like, these things have already happened, and if everything does reset, that means it wouldn't have happened. So there had to be an initial state that was slightly solvable. There was just enough information, and the clothes will be part of that. Just, it's drafty in the castle. Don't run around naked.
But again, that does imply, though, that ultimately this was set up for him to win.
Right.
And just kind of throwing it out there, my theory is that Missy was commissioned by the Time Lords to get the Doctor in here to get him back to Gallifrey, one way or the other. So Missy, again, if she wanted to kill him, she could have. So I think that she probably rigged it so he could win.
Riggsy?
Well, either they wanted to get him to Gallifrey, or it's just intended to be a torture chamber, like an eternal, like they didn't intend to ever have him break out of the loop, and it just happened to,
Like he found a way out.
Yeah, he found a loophole in the system and managed to exploit it.
But again, the other clues that we've been pointing out show that the game kind of wanted to help him anyway. So I don't think he necessarily found it. I think there were some...
The big one is the stars. Since he's clearly not any place, he's inside the what's that thing called? Confession dial.
Yeah.
Then there's no reason for the stars to progress, over time while he keeps getting reset. So that's like his gigantic clue.
That is true.
And this also brings up the thing that you and I talked about, the teleportation paradox. Since we've now gone through presumably more than 1 billion Doctors, assuming he's there for a few days each time. No, wait, well more than that. We had this talk, and I forgot already. You did the math. We've gone through billions of doctors.
Yes.
So every time since the very first Doctor, he's been a copy. Is he still the Doctor?
Right. That is a deep philosophical question, which this episode does not touch upon because Moffat probably never even thought of it. But basically, it's known, you can call it the teleportation paradox. It's known as continuity of consciousness, I believe is the term.
Yes.
And if the continuity of consciousness is disrupted, is that thing, however it got there, teleportation, cloning, you name it, still the same thing? It has every single atom in exactly the right position, but all of its experiences start at that point.
Right, because basically the idea is they took raw matter, atoms, and arranged them into the Doctor.
Right.
So he's just a copy of the Doctor that was kidnapped.
Right. And this is tough because even philosophers and scientists don't have any answers to this question.
Except you're lucky because I, Matt Warburton, with a master's degree in theater, do.
Okay.
I was thinking about it, and this is my Doctor Who universe way of explaining it. So, I enjoy playing the game, the Batman Arkham Knight.
Okay.
I enjoy that game very much. However, I die a lot in that game. A lot.
It's tough.
It's tricky, but I keep on coming back. And I pursue through it, and I just die, and come back, and come back, and come back, and come back. And I have all these fun little game over screens. Look into my eyes, Batman, as you die, or whatever.
Fun.
Yes, fun. Also, there's some fun Joker ones in there too. Oh no, you're not dying, or whatever how he sounds. That's bad. But anyway, I play, I enjoy it, I die a lot. But whenever I come back, I'm still the same Batman. I'm still Bruce Wayne. And in that computer, in my Xbox One, it's all ones and zeros, just kind of resetting back to that last save point. Well, in this world, whatever that teleportation device, instead of using ones and zeros, it's using atoms and cells. So the ones and zeros are just atoms and cells, and they're just, restarting it like that. That's how I kind of justified it in my mind.
Well, that's important, though, because when the way a video game save file works isn't your character coming back, except in some games. Games like Bioshock, actually. That is exactly how the save file works. But in this case, it's actually time rewinding back to a point before you made those mistakes.
Right.
Which actually kind of works with Doctor Who, too, although they don't usually do that. And that's the problem we have with this. And this is why it's such a tough concept to wrap our brains around, because it doesn't exist yet.
Right.
In physics, quantum physics, if we were to have a teleporter like on Star Trek, and this is not how Star Trek teleporters work, how real ones would work, you would necessarily destroy the original thing you were trying to teleport in order to get all of the information about the state of all of its particles. It's gone. But you have all the information stored in your computer. So for, the beer here, not a big deal. Put my beer over there, okay, destroy it, put it back together over there. But a person now has a gap in their consciousness. So they are dead. You killed them in the teleporter. When you put them back together, you put together an exact copy just before the second they died, but the consciousness band, that thing that ties their existence together, has snapped. You now have a new being with a new beginning consciousness at that moment. That's the problem with, is it really the Doctor? Because it's no longer the same consciousness strand. It's been snapped many times in his case.
Billions of times.
And that's where the trick comes in. It's a replicator, a very, very fancy replicator.
Well, I think the interesting question that comes from that then is how does that matter? I mean, sure, it's an interesting discussion topic, but from a storytelling perspective, I don't think it necessarily plays as much of a role.
That is actually a good point, because this season, and actually frequently with Stephen Moffat, the idea of who's the real one comes up a lot. It's happened with the Doctor already, with the Ganger. We have Osgoods with the Zygons. It's does it matter?
Yeah.
If it's an exact duplicate in every single way.
What makes you? Yeah.
And that is part of the philosophical debate. It's it really is tricky. From a scientific point of view, no, it's not you anymore. But that's not all that matters.
I say if the doctor doesn't care, then it's all good.
But he shouldn't care. She's the copy.
He would never know. Well, from his point of view.
No, he
knows.
But
yeah.
It's like it's all the same to him. Yeah.
Well, actually, would the last one know?
He would have figured it out. Because the doctors have all figured it out just as they're, breaking through the wall.
Yeah.
That's the whole bird clue.
Sorry, it's been a while since I've watched the episode.
Well, there's episodes like that where it seems... I remember I had an issue like this during the little comic nose day or whatever that was with the Doctor and Amy and Rory. And the Doctor and Amy and Rory that you started out with was not the ones that you ended with. They kept on like jumping through the TARDIS and like then there's like, oh, there's 2 Rorys or there's 2 Amys and there's 2 Doctors or whatever, and then you actually kind of saw them say hi and then like run away back into the TARDIS, and then it's like, okay, now they're going off on their little bit, and then here we are. I'm like, but those aren't the same ones. Those aren't the original copies.
Well, in that case, they aren't copies.
They're
all the same person, just at different points in the same timeline. So they all have the same exact continued consciousness. It's just now they have to figure out, wait a minute, where do I have to be to not screw up and make another paradox?
So we mentioned the last room when the Doctor realizes he's been doing this for billions of years. Mm-hmm. My biggest problem with the episode comes in this room.
Oh.
When Moffat, being Moffat, has to declare that Azbantium is 400 times tougher than Diamond.
Azbantium.
So wouldn't it be good enough just to say, here's a 20-foot wall of diamond to punch through, Doctor? No. Here's a new thing I made up that's 400 times harder than Diamond. Good luck, Doctor. It's like, really, Moffat?
He's lucky it wasn't neutronium.
Oh, hey, it's kind of a Harry Potter thing. So Azbantium, Azkaban, the veil lady kind of looked like a Dementor a little bit.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
It's a prison.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
The music is kind of late Harry Potter movie. I don't know if that's true.
The Prisoner of Azbantium.
Azbantium.
Well, speaking of music, I did also jot down that the first time the Doctor sees Clara's portrait, early going way back to the beginning, 50 minutes in the beginning, this little weird bit of like 80s synth music played. It actually reminded me of like 80s Doctor Who music. And it was only in that little like few seconds. It was very weird. I don't know why they did that.
I don't think I noticed that.
I think, it's because Stephen Moffat, you dug and you found this information, Gabe.
The J&T era is his favorite era.
Look at that.
His favorite Doctors are 5 and 7.
So, Susan,
Yes.
J&T or Jonathan Naylor Thomas? No.
Nathan.
John Nathan Turner?
Jonathan.
Jonathan Turner, I think, yeah.
Okay. He
John
was
Nathan
the
Turner.
showrunner for Doctor Who in its unfortunate decline years.
I see.
And so we often mock him. Stephen Moffat seems to have many of his proclivities.
Oh dear.
Question marks on lapels, stupid title sequences.
I like the question mark lapels though. There's something classically retro, I guess, about that.
That's J&T.
See, that's all right. The clocks and the title sequences, not so much.
He had worse ideas. The lapel question marks weren't the worst.
But maybe a vest full of question marks.
Yeah, well, see, that might be pushing it too far.
And a cane with a giant question mark on the end.
The Seventh Doctor was basically the Riddler.
Yes.
Did he have question mark pants?
No, but I know one that does. And it's not the one you're thinking.
There, see, you finally got it.
Yes. So, I was a little... So in this confession episode, because this is all about confessing things, I was a little bit nervous that we were gonna have too many truths. I hate it when I like the Doctor being a little bit more mysterious, and I hate too many truths coming out, and it seems like that's what this is.
Did he really run out of truths, by the way? It seems like there'd be a number of things that he wouldn't have told anyone before.
Yeah, but like he definitely was... yeah... I guess that's what they really wanted was the hybrid or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. That was the new truth introduced early this season. That
Yeah.
I get that that's what they were shooting for.
But yeah, like, did it have to be that? It couldn't just be like, oh,
I don't like pizza.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be a billion things he's never expressed out loud before.
And you get the impression that during some of the scenes where we're not explicitly watching him, he's confessing other things.
Well, yes, but still, can you really run out of that? I guess you would.
For
eventually,
somebody who's
but-
lived as long as him, though. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd think he'd just like start at the beginning and.
Yeah.
I have a thing.
Gabe has a thing.
Gabe has a thing.
Hold on. Hold the presses.
I'm sorry if I missed this, and you already said it. But the one truth that he was withholding was who the hybrid was.
Yeah, well, yes. We didn't say exactly.
Yes.
We just mentioned hybrids was what they were kind of getting for. That's
Yes.
why he was in the whole shenanigans.
Which you have to wait for the American trailer.
Apparently.
Yes.
Or which one did we see it in? I don't remember now. Anyway.
We saw the BBC one.
Actually, technically, he said it in the end of this episode because he said the hybrid is me. Something.
And then Schilder pops up and says, "Hey,
Remember when I called myself me? That's me.
because I don't."
So we actually don't know. And having scoured the internet for a little bit,
A little bit.
it seems to be mostly 50-50 about the hybrid is the Doctor or the hybrid is a Shielder.
The me.
And like,
Oh, is it is the Doctor a human Time Lord hybrid? Is that,
Exactly.
Are we going back to that? Back
On
to
my mother's side.
yes,
well,
yes.
That seems to be it for that episode. Good job, folks.
the
No. Too soon. Too soon.
anything else?
Oh, no, I don't have anything.
You
else.
look like you have more things.
Yeah, you do.
I see it
Well,
in
no.
your face.
Yeah, and you
Well, no,
look like
we're-
you're sifting through notes.
You
still.
have like this 50-50 on the me thing. It's me. It's a Schilder. Moffat isn't that clever.
Well, the BBC One trailer didn't show a Shielder, but the BBC America trailer did.
Right, so she's always in the episode, and if she's in the episode, it has to be. That's the only... Yeah.
But the BBC trailer also showed the Doctor grabbing Clara's hand.
Well, right, but we don't know how much of that's in his head. We don't know how much of that is him crossing his own timeline.
So, do you think that she's like dead right now, and all like this is like a Roseanne season
Oh God,
finale?
no. No, I think
we deserve better than the Roseanne finale.
another theme this season was cheating death. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's very possible that Claire's just sitting there drinking tea somewhere at a cafe right now.
Yes. Now,
Like
she-
Batman. At the
Yes,
end of
exactly.
Wait.
And then, Alfred looks over and then winks at the camera.
She likes chips, remember?
Oh, yeah.
That's where they went.
I would love it if Alfred was in it, like every single like crazy ending of a TV show or movie, and then it's just like back to that, and like Alfred going, "Yep."
Well, next week's episode is called Hellbent. It's keeping with the season naming conventions.
Oh, heaven sent Hellbent. Oh, and they. Oh my gosh! Whoever thinks of these is so clever, so clever. It blows my mind, the cleverness.
And it
Well-
also ties in all to the Death in Heaven theme with from last year with
Yes.
Danny Pink. So there's even more ways of...
It could-
It
It could get very messy.
could get messy.
But here's what Moffat says about next week's episode, and I'll do this one, so I have one for you. A longer one later.
Ooh, okay.
I'm not going to do an accent, though. I'm just going to read it. About this episode, Moffat says,
Okay.
it's a whopper. Oh. Oh, I don't think you'll see this coming.
I would like to say, if anything we said in this podcast comes to pass, we have to actually, he's not on Twitter anymore. How do we get in touch with him?
Yes.
Do we mail him something?
The post,
Do we,
yeah.
actually, send him a copy of this podcast?
Mark Gatiss is on Twitter.
I
Because
think
like,
they
hey,
know
Mark.
each other.
Yes, sometimes they hang out. They might have a biscuit. No,
Is that a British biscuit?
I'll let you guess. You won't see this one coming.
It's not a Whopper. It's a Royale with cheese.
Yes. Oh.
Royale with cheese.
I'm mixing my reference or metaphors. Mixing my burger for it.
Yes. Burger fours.
So for our last little bit of news, it's about the Christmas special.
Of course it is.
We found out the title.
They're always putting up the Christmas special decorations before we even finish the series.
Yes.
We discovered the title today. It's going to be called The Husbands of River Song.
Oh.
So she has a Hiram?
Well, no, 'cause
A Hiram.
I guess they're trying to say...
Hiram. I'm just really entertaining
Yeah,
myself right now.
that's pretty good, actually. Thank you. I guess we're trying to say that each doctor's a different husband, which is not right.
It's not right, but I mean, legally, you probably fill out some documents. So who knows?
It's Moffat thinking he's clever again.
Yeah.
So anyway, Matt, if you want to...
Yes.
No. No.
If you want,
Okay.
Joseph doesn't want me
if
to.
you want
but-
to, if you want to call up Stephen Moffat here, he has some information about what's going on.
Put him on FaceTime.
FaceTime. Okay. Okay, go ahead and patch him in. So, I'll be honest. I brought River Son back in because I thought there's a possibility I'd never write it again. So, that'll be my goodbye.
Goodbye.
And it's a whopper.
Another Whopper, back-to-back Whoppers.
I don't know why Stephen Moffat all of a sudden is Australian.
It's a double Whopper with cheese.
Is that a Royale cheese? No.
By the way, I know I'm doing a terrible accent.
So don't write in Stephen Moffat.
Yes. Oh, I don't think you'll see this coming. It's strange because they're now, in our human terms, the perfect couple. They're both 6-year older people. It's always been slightly strange before with Matt Smith. You know?
What was that?
Why did you get air quotes?
Well, it's in brackets. Smith is in brackets. So he probably said Matt. And then the writers went, oh, I'll let you know that it was Smith. It was Matt Smith we're talking about, that he was mentioning. All right. Now, yeah, they could actually be married. It works. She's great with Peter Capaldi. That was also in brackets. Just for your edification. It's a great romp for the Christmas day, and you'll be pleased, there's not a lot of Christmas in it.
Is he Starbucks now? Or what?
So it'll be a lot like last season. There's not a lot of Christmas in it.
But I like the Christmassy Christmas ones.
Yeah,
was it
that-
actually in Christmas last year? No. Yes. I don't know. What happened last year?
I don't remember.
Everybody's face got sucked by crabs.
But it has
Wait,
Santa
wait.
Claus.
Oh yes. All right. So it starts with a big bit of Christmas. So I lied a little bit, just a little bit. It starts with a big bit of Christmas at the beginning,
He's
and
down to lying within one sentence of each other.
it starts with a big bit of Christmas at the beginning, and then we ignore it and go off on a chase. Really? With Mr. and Mrs. Who? Really? About that?
He's Janty.
Oh, no.
Why? So you're basically writing the Peter Cushing.
Yes.
That's why you had to specify in the article that it was Peter Capaldi, not Peter Cushing, because of the Mr. and Mrs. Who comment. All right. He's Stephen Moffat. It's not. His name isn't actually Doctor Who. It's Doctor. You know,
this is the doctor.
The Doctor. Anyway, going on.
Anywho,
One thing worth saying about it is, if you're a long-term fan of the show, you might be interested in watching another show because it's no
good.
If you're a long-term fan of the show, you might be interested because there's been a lot of talk about the Doctor and River's glory years, but we've never seen them. Here at last, we see them as Mr. and Mrs. Who
Again with the Who.
at the height of their powers. It's great fun. End quote.
End scene.
Get off my
see.
phone, Stephen Moffat.
It is. So, yeah, that's the Christmas special right there.
Oh dear.
It sounds special.
Yes, very special. Very special indeed.
I'm excited to have River back.
Yeah, it's
That'll be
going to be
nice.
fun. River coming back is going to be fun. So we'll see what is in store.
Apparently a wedding.
Apparently, yes.
They're already married.
They're already
Oh,
married.
that's right.
So I think with the Mr. and Mrs. Who, he's going for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie.
Yeah. The thing is though, I wouldn't. Could you really conceivably pair Alex Kingston to Peter Capaldi? I'm wondering if that's now a slight to Alex Kingston.
Yeah, actually, I thought of that too, because we often see in media, wildly older men with
Yeah.
very young women,
Yeah.
and that's just normal. So we got a younger Matt Smith with a little bit older Alex Kingston. Why is that a problem?
Yeah.
I think that now to say that we're going to give somebody much older than Alex Kingston, that's normal. It's like, that's kind of sexist. I didn't see a problem with an older River and a younger Doctor.
I think that's the first time that Stephen Moffat has ever been accused of being sexist.
Oh dear,
I've heard anywhere.
I can't even.
I can't even.
Did you?
I can.
You
Yes.
can?
I can even and I can odd.
Oh.
Ooh.
Did you see the poster for it?
There's a poster.
There's a poster.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I don't know. You did. I showed you.
You showed me one corner of the poster.
It's a very important bit. Here's a close up of it. Do you see what's present?
Presents?
A present? Oh wait, I don't. Is it?
Yes, it is.
Is it the sonic screwdriver?
It's a new sonic screwdriver.
the Return of the Screwdriver.
Yes.
Hooray, you got rid of those dorky sunglasses.
Here's the extreme close up.
It's not the sonic screwdriver.
Here's the extreme close up Joseph saw.
Oh, it looks like the Starship Enterprise.
No, that's River's trowel.
Oh, that's River's Trowel. Never mind.
It's the lightsaber looking one. Just
Oh.
it's blue now.
It looks like
It's blue
C-3PO.
again.
No, R2-D2. Which one's the
The
little blue droidy?
R2.
Yep.
R2, yes.
I want to know, why was Moffat so concerned that he's not going to be able to write another River Song episode? Because all of a sudden, before he was like, "Oh, I can, make a sonic screwdriver sunglasses because I can." What would he do? So,
Well, I think the point is when he wrote this, he hadn't actually been brought back on next year as showrunner.
oh, okay.
There's one thing he can't do. That's hire himself.
So he honestly thought that he might be replaced next year. Apparently,
It's like, yeah, I'm really biting it.
but they brought him back. Sadly,
They brought him back. All right. All in all, I actually did, I found the episode compelling. It wasn't one of the big, fun episodes. I would actually kind of compare it. It's comparable to Midnight, where
Which is terrible.
no, which I really enjoyed Midnight, but it was not a fun Doctor Who episode. It was
not fun.
but it was very compelling, and I think very I think this was witty and not over the top. Hey, look how clever I can be, kind of witty from my point of view.
yeah, I liked it a lot
Yeah.
too. I mean, I thought that. So we joked at the beginning that it had mixed reviews. It's mixed reviews amongst us, but as of Monday, I think it had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and most of the reviews. One of the reviews said that, I think it was the Radio Times, that it was an instant classic, and certainly one of the best of the modern era, and maybe one of the best of the entire 52-year run of the show.
Yeah.
I saw 2 reviews that called it transcendent. I thought that was a bit of an exaggeration, but
A little.
just a tad.
It transcends television.
But it seems that
Straight to books.
the reviewers mostly loved it.
Yeah. Well, it's very reviewer friendly. I mean, it's just a tad pretentious in the best possible way, but reviewers eat that stuff up. So
But if assuming that Moffat's target is scaring the kids, he failed completely,
yes.
Yes.
and he also failed completely in entertaining me.
Oh, you said you kind of.
Okay, not completely. He like 60-40. Failure.
He vaguely amused you.
That 8 minutes really got you.
This was not Joseph's season.
No, this is not. Yeah. No.
All right. Well, we should probably wrap up here because we're at like a.
It's bedtime.
Do you have a Hootube, Matt?
I actually do have a Hootube. So this Hootube is by the Renegade Time Lord, and it's called Eighth Doctor Tribute / Larger Than Life Fanvid.
You had to throw that in there.
That's how. Yeah, exactly. So I do it. Sometimes I really work to try to theme the Hootubes, and this one I purposely was like, no, an Eighth Doctor, a tribute to the Eighth Doctor. That's what we need
Better
right
times.
now. And so yeah, it's fun. It's peppy, done well. Thank you, the Renegade Time Lord.
So yes, watch that video. We love it.
It's so good.
Matt
Oh my
loves it.
God.
So good, so good, so good. Yes,
Cat loves it.
Yes,
Yeah.
the cat loves it. Absolutely. So go ahead and check that out, and be sure to check us out on our website, aotpodcast.com. And,
Also, find us on Twitter at AOT Podcast.
and you can also go to iTunes or Stitcher and just type us in on the search, look us up, rate us, and leave comments. We like that kind of thing. And you can also check us out on our on our network, musingsofageek.com.
And are these things appearing on YouTube more often, Matt?
Yes, we did this with the last episode, and we'll keep on doing this now, but we're actually going to put our YouTube page to use. So what we're doing is we are making the very podcast that you hear right now, we're also making available on YouTube, and you can check this out on our YouTube page, AOT Podcast.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
That's a wrap.
Yay.
That is a wrap indeed. All right. For this episode of The Arrow of Time, I have been Matt.
I have been Joseph.
I have been Gabe.
And I have been Susan.
And this has been The Arrow of Time.
You are now leading the world of Musings of a Geek podcast network. Stay geeky, my friends.